Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Skåne here in the south of Sweden. We're going to go back to Eslöv and we're revisiting a brewery that you've seen me review maybe 7 or 8 beers from now, and I always enjoy my visits to this brewery. So for this one we are going to return to Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri and we're having a taste of their new hazy IPA. This one is called the Migla and it comes in at 6.5% ABV. There's some unusual hops in this beer as well, but we'll talk about that a little bit kind of later on. So really curious to see how this one turns out. In recent times I've had a very good Imperial Pils lager beer from these guys, which was nice. It was an IPL, so yeah, India Pale Lager I guess you should call it. And the hot patch, the brown ale that I had from them was really good as well. And this brewery of course are quite well known for having connections to one of the local hop farms down here in Skåne, so they always release the local hops beer every year as well. And one of the other beers I reviewed not too long ago was the local hops reserve, or growers reserve or something like that it was called, and that was really good as well. But really looking forward to trying this one, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. I always enjoy these Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri beers. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri before. No doubt there will be some more added in the fairly near future, because they're always producing more beers. They seem to be a lot more prolific now than they were before. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri then. So as the name suggests, Gård of course in Swedish is the word for farm, and the same in Danish and Norwegian. This brewery is based on a farm outside of Eslöv, which is a little bit to the northeast of me here in Lund in Skåne in the south of Sweden. But they've been brewing here since the autumn of 2014, and in January 2015 they started selling their beers in Systembolaget. So the owner and founder of this company is Håkan Nilsson, and together with his wife Michelle, he started his plan for a brewery a couple of years prior to this, and the brewery is located on their family farm. And Håkan is apparently the 5th generation who has made his living here in the countryside of Skåne. But the old barn was renovated and a brew house of 1500 litres was installed, and they hired Hampus Olofsson in August of 2014, and he'd previously worked at Malmö Brewing Company. But over the last few years they've been gradually expanding their capacity. They now have a 3,000 litre brew kit, and they invested in new fermentation tanks in the spring of 2018, which apparently takes their capacity up to a possible 800,000 litres of beer per year. In 2019 they also opened up a summer pub, which at the moment opens up every Wednesday as well. And it would be cool actually to see these guys. I think that's probably the next step for them, is to open up like a restaurant, a pub and restaurant thing that opens up at the weekends actually. You know, the Swedes love eating and drinking out and things like that. It's a big part of their culture, so I think that's the next stage for these guys, or indeed opening up in Malmö or something like that actually. I think that's probably the next kind of logical step for this brewery in fact. But yeah, I've had some really good beers from these guys. The Sweet Hoof, their milk stout is really nice. Like I said, the IPL that they did was really good as well. I did have one that was a collaboration with Malmö, which was called the Shiny Hyped Can, and that was a really pretty bloody good beer as well, I have to say. So this is definitely one of the breweries who I think when they expand a little bit more, when they win some more Systembolaget contracts and things like that, I think this is a brewery definitely to keep an eye on. It's one of these companies that's kind of you know, it's kind of growing slowly but surely actually, so you definitely want to keep an eye on these guys. And it's cool, you know, it's cool in terms of it being a Skånsk beer as well. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, of course, you can check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and that'll keep you up to date with all the latest goings on at the brewery. And like I said, these guys are a little bit more prolific now than they used to be, and I need to see if I can review a couple of other beers like Fenton and Genius and things that have been out for a while. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So yeah, the hops in this one incidentally are Azaka, Idaho 7 and Sabro. So Idaho 7 is a hop that's it's getting more and more popular. You know, it gives you like papayas and a little bit of a tangerine orangey kind of thing, and it's supposed to give you some grapefruit as well, but I never really got grapefruit from it. And Sabro is one that I've never actually come across. So the Sabro hop was apparently, I did a little bit of research on this, Sabro hop was apparently released by the Hop Breeding Company in 2018. It was originally called HBC 438, and when I read that number I was convinced that I've seen it before, but it's supposed to give tangerines and coconut, and also to have this kind of minty, resiny kind of quality to it as well, which is interesting. But yeah, we can get rid of the brewery notes now and we can get on with the tasting. So you've got Azacca, Idaho 7 and Sabro, all hops that will give you nice orangey quality, so I suspect this will be a lovely orangey New England IPA, which is something I always write. But yeah, there you can see the Migla Hazy IPA from Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting. I'm just very curious to see how this one turns out. This is a little 330ml can, incidentally, which I'm sure those of you in Sweden watching would know, but I think some of the viewers from America and other places might not know the exact measurement, because in America I think it's like 375. It's so many of these silly fluid ounces that they like to use and things like that. But anyway, oh, you can smell the oranges off that straight away as soon as you open it up. But yeah, as you can see with this beer then, it's poured a lovely, bright, hazy yellow. You can see there's a solid half finger of a frothy white head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. Incidentally, I can't remember for certain, but I think this beer was released in the local and small assortments on the 1st of August, but I think you guys will probably see the review into the very early part of September actually. But this beer was released on the 1st of August actually, so it is a fairly new one, and I'm drinking this pretty fresh. I think it's the 12th of August today that I'm reviewing this beer on for you, so it's only been in the can probably 2-3 weeks at most. But yeah, it looks very nice bright yellow colour. If I put my fingers behind the glass you can see just how hazy it is. There's a solid half finger of a frothy white head on this one. That's gradually fading away to just be a very thin foamy layer, but you mean overall it looks pretty nice. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of the head. I've got this little teeny fruit fly that's going around my room just now, and I'm determined to get him later. But yeah, nice looking beer this one, not overly surprising in terms of its appearance. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Oh yeah, straight away you can pick out the oranges in this one, and all three hops are going to give you this tangerine orangey quality. The interesting thing is you can really pick out that kind of minty quality that's coming out of the Sabro in this one. It really does have that kind of minty edge to it. It's, to me, I don't pick up so much kind of piney, resiny quality, but it's the minty side that really comes out for me. So yeah, you can, on the green side of the hops, to me this is definitely more of a kind of floral, slightly spicy floral kind of quality, and the mint kind of notes are mixing in with that, which is really nice. There is a little touch of a grassiness and an earthiness in there as well, but you know, overall it's the aroma of this beer is very nice actually. Yeah, so yeah, definitely a lot of tangerine oranges for me, which is kind of what you'd expect. There is a little bit of there's definitely a little bit of a kind of tropical note to this as well. I mean, I think there's a little bit of a kind of papaya-y note in there. There is a little bit of something a bit more pungent, like a passion fruity grapefruit kind of thing, but it kind of blends in a little bit. I think the sort of minty qualities that are coming out of the beer definitely push that back a little bit. Like I said, you can get a bit of a grapefruity note, a red grapefruity note apparently from Idaho 7. But yeah, to me it really is very orangey. It's got a mix of the juicier tangerines and the more oily oranges. So yeah, it really is very nice, this one. I like the aroma of this beer is lovely. I could sit and smell that all day. I love these big orangey IPAs. Amarillo was always one of my favourite hops, and then you had, you know, Pacifica. Yeah, Pacifica, then Mosaic, and then Azacca, and then, you know, Idaho 7, and now Sabro have come along and done this. I need to remember that Sabro is a big orangey hop, but I really like how this one goes together. This is a lovely smelling aroma. So yeah, papayas, I think there's a little bit of pineapple or something in there as well, and apricot definitely. There's definitely a bit of an apricot in there. But yeah, it's got a lovely smell and aroma to it, this one. I like how everything goes together in this beer. So as I always say, take a bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of it before you get stuck in. On the malt side of things, definitely a nice smooth white bready wheaty quality, a little bit of an oaty creaminess, and you've also got a little bit of a kind of biscuity note to this one as well. So just take a bit of time and enjoy that aroma before you get stuck in, as I said. But let's have a taste of this now and see how we get on. This one is the Migla, a New England hazy IPA. It's 6.5% from Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri here in Skåne in the south of Sweden, just a little bit north of me in Eslöv. Let's get stuck in. Slanja, skål. That's pretty good actually. Oh yeah. Right, interesting thing about this beer is, this one really has, it's one of these beers where it really makes like a big transition. It comes in, and it's kind of, you know, there's like, oh, there's not too much going on, but then in the aftertaste, the fruits just start to kind of roll out of it actually, so just be aware of that when you try this beer. But this one gets a thumbs up from me. That is pretty damn good actually. And I mean, you know, Hampus, I've met Hampus at the, I met him at the Malmö Öl and Whiskey, was that like 2 years ago or something now? But he's a very nice guy actually, and you know, he's gradually, you can see he's gradually getting better and better and better at his brewing, and it's cool. You know, the IPA that they released in collaboration with Malmö a couple of years back, was that about it must have been about a year ago now. That was a lovely, lovely beer, and you know, the imperial pills that they did was good as well. They're gradually getting more, they're gradually getting better at these hoppy styles in my opinion, which is great. But this is very, very solid actually. I like this. It's actually very similar to. It has the same kind of vibe to it. If any of you are watching from Skåne, you know, this is kind of similar to the likes of the Simcoe Lightning and things. It's got that similar vibe to it that you'll get from a lot of these IPAs in the tap room itself. Yeah, that's lovely. So yeah, let's try and break this down a little bit then. So straight away, you'll feel the nice sort of pale malty quality that just blankets the middle of your tongue. It takes a little minute to almost kind of thicken up a little bit, and then you realise that it's a wheaty, white bready sort of thing, and then you start to get the oaty kind of creaminess in the middle of your palate as well. And I really like that aspect of this beer, how that kind of all pieces together. I really like that side of this beer. In the middle of the palate, there's maybe a little touch of a biscuity note, but that's very, very minimal. This beer is definitely more about the the kind of smoothness and creaminess of the oats and wheaty qualities. Actually, it's definitely more about that in the malt base. The malt base, this one, the other thing I should say about this beer is the malt base in this one isn't the thickest. This is definitely more. It comes across as a more sort of sessionable, slightly lighter New England IPA, but it has the full flavour that you'd expect actually. But I've always felt that way a little bit about the Malmö Brewing Company beers as well. They get the full flavours, but they keep the mouthfeel and the feel of the malt base just that little bit lighter, and I like that side of it actually. But yeah, and I do find the more you drink of that actually, the more the oatiness comes out. And incidentally, the wheatiness in this one isn't too astringent. It is quite a smooth wheat. You can get some of the wheat, these beers, where the wheat really pushes its way out and you've got quite an astringency to it, and in fairness, you do feel that a little bit the further into the aftertaste that you go, but it is a lighter beer in terms of the wheaty components. On to the hoppy side of things then. Back corners of the palate, definitely a bit of earthiness. I would say that that's Mosaic. I've always found that Mosaic has this little slightly dark earthiness to it, but as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you definitely get some of those nice spicy floral aromatic notes out there, and really on the sides of your palate as well, and almost at the front corners, you do start to get the kind of minty notes, and you've also got a nice kind of grassy You've definitely got a nice little bit of a grassy quality in there as well around the front curve of the tongue too. Behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And this one, I was expecting it really to lean towards the oranges. It does have a good bit more complexity to it than that. So yeah. The further that you go into the aftertaste with this one, you are going to get a little bit of that darker grapefruity, passion fruity note out of the beer. And the thing that's a bit strange about this is that that kind of sits further forward on the tongue. Because I've always found that grapefruit sits at the back of that oily bubble that you get, but it's sitting at the front of this one for me. Behind that, all behind that, the full back of that oily bubble that I always talk about, it's juicy, tangerine oranges for me. There is a little bit of like a tropical fruity note there. There's definitely some sort of papaya notes in there. What else? There is something that's just not coming to my mind exactly what it is, but you've definitely got a nice juicy tropical fruit note popping out a little bit more the further you come forward, and you've got a nice little bit of a red. You've definitely got a nice little bit of a kind of red grapefruity note out of this one, a strong grapefruity note on the front part of your palate, and it really mixes in well with the slightly minty vibes that you're getting out of the Sabro as well. It did say when I read about Sabro it was supposed to give you a bit of coconut too, and you know, in fairness, there is almost just a little bit of subtlety to that, and it's weird because normally you'd expect a coconut flavour when you have these stouts and things like that. You'd expect it to come out kind of in the middle of your palate, but it's almost just kind of around the edge of your, pardon me, it's just almost around the kind of edge of your tongue too. You definitely can pick up that little subtlety out of this beer as well. But overall, it's a really nice beer, this one. I mean, this gets a big thumbs up from me. This could be the best beer that I've had from Remmarlöv so far, I think, and I think definitely they need to produce a few more of these, a few more hazy IPAs, and it'd be cool to see them have a go at a big beast of a West Coast IPA as well, because you know, Hampus is a talented brewery. He's done the beers I've had from him. I've had a sweet stout which has been good, I've had a Scotch ale which is good, an Imperial Red, this New England IPA is good. I mean, it seems to be that when he tries different styles, he does well at it, so it'd be cool to see him try a few more different things. I think the next step would be like a big West Coast double IPA. I think that would be a great thing for these guys to try. But yeah, let's leave it at that in terms of the flavour. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would describe this beer as being probably mid-bodied. Yeah, bottom end of mid-bodied for me, this beer. Carbonation is quite smooth, has a nice little bit of an oily quality to it. Definitely, yeah, this is definitely one of the more oily New England IPAs you're going to come across. In terms of IBUs, I think this is your standard sort of 30 IBU part in this one. Nice juiciness to the fruit, actually. It has this really fresh quality to it because of those minty things that are in the beer. But it's also got a really nice juicy fruity note to it, and you get some darker fruits, but you also get from the passion fruity notes, you do get a little bit of that darker tropical fruit, but you also have a very nice juicier orange side to this beer as well. So overall, it's a really, really nice beer, this one, and I'm glad that I was able to review it for you. This is probably the best beer actually that I've had on the lighter side of the spectrum from Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri so far. But yeah, if you get the chance to try their Imperial Red at Christmas time, that's one that I'd also definitely recommend. The Sweet Hoof is a good beer, and you know, just keep an eye on them for new beers. They seem to be getting more and more prolific, and they're doing a good job, so you can't really ask for much more. But big thumbs up for me, this one, the Migla New England Hazy IPA, this beer. Be cool to review this one for you, so let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri as well, and I'm sure I'll return to these guys at some point in the fairly near future. But it's been really cool to review this one for you, and make sure you check out this brewery. So until the next time, make sure you check out my social media, and I'll catch you guys very soon. The Migla from Remmarlöv Gårdsbryggeri, just outside of Eslöv here in Skåne in the south of Sweden. Slanja, skål.